My name is Jason Howcroft. I am one of the owners here at Big Mission. I also fill a few other roles in the shop, kind of a shop foreman. I kind of run and manage the guys in the back. I also do a lot of the parts sourcing and whatnot. Occasionally I do step in for customer interactions as well. Big Mission Automotive started 5 years ago. It was a dream of Steve. We started Big Mission Motorsports back in 2015, 2016. We had a small motorsport shop back here, and Steve just had kind of an epiphany, realized that there wasn't a good European shop up here in the Monument Palmer Lake area. So he decided to open up Big Mission Automotive, branched off from Big Mission Motorsports.
I started Big Mission because I had an actual epiphany. We had the motorsports shop in the back of the building, and I was here one weekend stabbing a transmission in a BMW. It only took me probably 3 attempts and 8 hours to do it. But when I drove home, and I lived maybe 5 or 6 miles from the shop, I saw BMWs and Audis and Porsches and Mercedes, and they were glowing, literally glowing. And it had been a couple of weeks prior to that the landlord offered us another space in the building. So all that happened kind of right together, and I went home. No pro forma, no business plan at all. I called Brian and Dan and I said, give me some money, we're going to open a shop. And that's what we did. I'm Steve Smith. I'm one of the owners of Big Mission Automotive and Big Mission Motorsports. I don't know what my role is really, a little bit of everything. Parts writer, parts orderer, service writer, bathroom, technician, whatever's needed. As one of the people responsible for the name Big Mission, I can tell you exactly what it means. Which was, all of this came out of our motorsports endeavors. And Brian and I joined forces in 2017. We'd been kind of working together, but not in one entity in 2015 and 16. And it's not a secret, motorsports is grossly expensive to participate in. And I mean that in an almost literal sense. It's kind of obscene the amount of money you spend sometimes. And there were elements of that did not sit well with me. And so as we formed the new venture, what we wanted to do was essentially buy indulgences. And so through our racing endeavors, we partnered with some charities, and we wanted to make it a point, if we were willing to go out and spend whatever dollars per weekend on this hobby, some amount of money should be going to people that need it. Because we were kind of setting it on fire every weekend.
It's a selfish sport.
Incredibly selfish sport, yeah.
We specialize in European vehicles, anything Porsche, Audi, Volkswagen, Mercedes, BMW. We do Mini Cooper as well. We mix in some Land Rover work. Things that we have branched out on, we are going to start servicing Toyota, Lexus, a Subaru, Honda, and Acura. For me, and this kind of goes into the name a little bit, it's always been a mission of mine previously at repair facilities, dealerships. It bothered me real bad seeing a commission-based approach to automotive repair.
Yeah.
I think that it should be transparent. We present all of the information to the customer, and we come up with guidelines or an action plan for those customers to take care of their vehicles.
It's a lot of things. I mean, at its core, it is just a high-touch service business. That's it. I mean, we happen to perform automotive service and repair, but we're a customer service business. I mean, really, cars are ancillary to the entire thing. It goes back to my earlier statement. We're a customer service business. We just happen to work on cars. If we were Big Mission HVAC, it would be the same type of experience. We would just be manifesting, that labor in some other endeavor. What makes us different? I think part of it is I came into this and started it with no experience in automotive other than as a consumer and as a racer. So I had certain expectations of what I want as a customer. And I had enough experience as a retail consumer to know absolutely what I was not going to allow to happen here. But for me, it's a confluence of a couple things. One, it's a really transparent, customer-centric organization. So we don't have some of the perverse incentives that exist in a dealership world. No one here gets a commission. So my paycheck is going to be the same. Your paycheck is the same, whether the customer chooses to do just the oil service or the oil service and the oil pan. It doesn't matter. And when you eliminate those, again, perverse incentives, it allows you to have a really straightforward engagement with the customer and to do everything from the perspective of what's the best for you and what's the best for the car. So if they want preservation, they want to hold on to this vehicle for another 100,000 miles, that's going to guide the way that we approach the repair and instruct them or consult them as to what needs to be done.
Yeah, that's perfect.
I think the other aspect of it is the employee side. I mean, I'm not an employee, so I'm sort of speaking on their behalf, but we were very purposeful in the way that we structured the employee relationships so that they all feel that, you know, they have a vested interest in what happens here. Mostly what we want to do is treat everyone like professionals, allow them to do their work, not micromanage, other than to the extent one has to manage the daily flow of this type of business. But let them be grown-ups and professionals and pay them well and treat them with respect. Yeah, I think for the broader community, I mean, we live here, right? I live here, and I've been a part of this community, and Dan lives in Monument. We're all here every day. It's a pretty special place. I like having the shop here, and I mean, we're not money bags. It's not like we have a lot of cash lying around to support different things. But if it's the hockey tournament that's on the ice, I mean, what a cool experience for not only the players and the teams, but for the local folks that want to go watch hockey every January on the ice. So we support that. We support the 0.5K, which is a Wake the Lake's biggest fundraiser every year. We support, I think a cheer team and lacrosse team and baseball team and football team at the high schools. We do a lot of work with Tri-Lakes Cares, not as much as we would like, but when we can, we do everything from rehabbing vehicles that were kind of being tossed away. We've donated labor and parts at cost for them. I think the last time I chatted with the folks at Tri-Lakes, they had something like 28 or 29 families, and it's usually single moms with kids that need transportation. There's no public option up here. And when we can find a car that's reasonable, that's been kind of our deal. We'll donate the labor, we'll get the parts for absolute cost, and get the car safe and ready and reliable and in somebody's hands so they can get around it, so they can live up here despite whatever their present circumstances are. And then we do some just general cash donations to them for outside of motorsports for whatever their needs are. The 4th of July is a little bit more selfish, but our customers live up here too. Thankfully, our vantage point for the fireworks is pretty hard to beat. It's right outside the front door. So almost every year for the last 5, I think, except last year when it was canceled, we do a 4th of July event up here. All the customers come. We provide food and beverage. Just ask them to bring some camp chairs and sit down, break bread with your neighbors, and hang out and have a good time.
Yeah.
We love to give back to the community. We have the Adopt a Highway program, so we take care of the highway, County Line Road, from I-25 all the way down to our shop. So you'll see us out this summer with the orange vests on and picking up trash. I think anything that we can do to help our community be a better place, help clean it up, get trash off of the roads, and then anything local that we can help sponsor and help support. Just even our presence there to serve food, volunteers for any of the organizations locally. If they're needing volunteers, we try to volunteer for as well. It starts with the phone call, or maybe you just walk in, you come and find us. You're either greeted by myself, one of my technicians, or Steve. At that point, we like to create a relationship with you. You're going to come in through the door. We're going to get to know you. We're going to get to know your vehicle and give you a tour through the shop. You get to meet our technicians and see our facility. Bring the vehicle in. We're going to do a full inspection on it. We're going to talk about things that need to be addressed to immediately, things that we can wait on, and maintenances and services based off of time and or condition, whatever works best for the customer. We have some customers that like to do maintenance just as needed, as far as filters and whatnot. We also have customers that like to stick to the stringent structure of manufactured recommendations, a set service, 20,000 mile, 40,000 mile. Either approach is fine with us. So we bring the vehicle in, we do a good thorough inspection on it, we take pictures of everything. There's times that we'll take a video. We present all of the information through our program. All of the pictures and videos are available to you, and come up with an action plan to get your vehicle repaired. Yeah, the team here at Big Mission, we're a pretty small shop. We've got 3 full-time automotive technicians. We have a part-time motorsport technician. All of them are fairly young. They're very talented individuals. They all came to us from other places. Some of them came out of dealerships. Our motorsport guy came from previous motorsport experience in a shop that had quite a bit of Subaru experience. What we do for training with the guys is any factory training that's available, we get them checked into. There's a lot of training that's local. There's a lot of webinars that we can attend. There's a lot of online training that we can do on the weekends and whatnot. There is also training that we can send them out to. So we stay up to date with all of our training as much as we can. The industry is constantly evolving. There's always new technology coming out. There's not a day that goes by that we don't see something come through the shop that we haven't seen before. I think what stands us out for the young guys coming in is they have a lot of critical thinking skills. They come in, they're very adaptable to the different vehicles that we work on. We can work on a Porsche and have a very in-depth diagnostic on that, and then turn right around and be working on a Mercedes, and maybe it's just routine maintenance. So the guys are really, really keen as far as working on different makes, models, a very broad spectrum of vehicles. Yeah. The work culture here at Big Mission, these guys are like family. Sometimes coming into work is more of a reprieve from life, which a lot of places to work, it's opposite. They dread going into work. I love coming into work. These guys are more friends to me and family to me than just co-workers and a number. These guys are not just a technician number. Adam, Trevor, Alex, and Stone. We treat them like we would our family. That's what it is. It's a small, tight-knit family.
It's collegial. As this, alluded to sort of that team approach early, and to the guys being vested in what it is that we're doing. So not only do we communicate and maybe over-communicate externally and with a level of transparency to our customers, but we do the same thing here. So, what the shop is earning and what the shop is profiting is not a mystery to anyone that works here. And in conjunction with that, it's trying to, not overload everyone and turn you into finance majors or something like that, but explaining the concepts of what drives profitability with a semi-frequent basis, just so there's an understanding of what's happening here. I don't think there's a lot of barriers between management, if you will, and staff. I think we all view each other as pretty much on the same team. We just have different primary roles than the other people have, but there's not any real hierarchy, which makes it, for me, a really pleasant place to be every day. I enjoy the heck out of being here. I find all of you guys incredibly motivated in life. So I think there is always a generational battle that goes on. Oh, these young kids today, they just need to pull up by the bootstraps and whatever. And I've never really given that much credence, but just being around. My children are the same age as most of the technicians here, and I see how hard they work to accomplish their goals. So I see that in all of the guys here. There is also an element of trainability, right? What we ultimately want to hire are people with mechanical skill sets, not necessarily deep experience in one particular make or model. Because if you've got a rather deep knowledge base, then it doesn't matter if it's a Lincoln or a Ford or a Chevrolet or a Porsche that comes in. An internal combustion engine is still an internal combustion engine. And there's they're all wired for power, and they have transmissions, and being able to work on systems and components is the most important thing. And going back to having staff that they're all intrinsically motivated people, and we can present them with the training opportunities, and they do a lot of training. We'd like to do more, but they do a lot of that training, and that's where the knowledge base that's specific to, you know, a E46 race car or a 911 Carrera 996 comes into play. I don't have issues with any older technicians. I think one of the challenges is what we're trying to do here is not really like what is found in a lot of other shops. And so a challenge or a concern with an older, much older technician, someone my age, mid-50s, would be you're probably fairly entrenched in work habits, the way shops should work. This is the way to do it. I'm not going to try your new way. And that just wouldn't work for us. I think a great example is being a small shop and the jobs varying as much as they do. We'll frequently have a technician start a job and accomplishes whatever the primary concern was for the customer, but then there's some secondary issue that needs to be addressed. And due to volume and flow within the shop, we're transferring that job over to another technician to complete the work. And so that type of team environment really is not, in that fashion, is not found a lot in this industry, because everything is tied to labor hours and the way they're compensated. And our objective as a team is to get the car corrected, fixed, serviced, repaired promptly, accurately, and back in the hands of the customer as soon as we can get it back in their hands.
I hope that we continue down the path that we have. We've grown quite a bit in the last 5 years. You know, Steve opening the shop and had a few business partners, and he's pretty much just said, hey guys, we're gonna do this. We started out with 2 bays and 1 guy by myself, and we've expanded into another part of the building. We have 3 full-time automotive technicians, a part-time motorsport technician. I would love to see that growth continue. I think we will continue to grow at the rate that we have been. We hope to expand the shop a little bit more, maybe hire a few more technicians. I think that our customer satisfaction is number 1, though. You know, I think most importantly moving forward is you know, when vehicles leave the shop here, they leave right. It's very important for us that when we repair a car that it is leaving correct. We don't take a shotgun approach to things. Vehicles are diagnosed. We take the time to properly diagnose them. And a lot of time it's education on us. You know, we don't charge customers for education. If we need to learn how the system works, we take the time to learn how it works to make sure that we are properly diagnosing the vehicle and also repairing the vehicle so that it leaves correct. Here at Big Mission, we offer a 3-year, 36-month in-house warranty. It's a 2-year, 24-month nationwide. So there's peace of mind. If you're out traveling, you head down to Arizona and you have a failure and it's something that we had done here or a parts failure, you're covered 100% at a ton of different facilities nationwide.
We have a really interesting customer base. A lot of gearheads understand cars very well. For most of them, we can just have conversations. Hey, this is what we're seeing. This is what needs to be addressed now. Here are some things that you can keep an eye on, or will keep an eye on over time, and let you know when it's time to do them. But to your point about, you know, the average person who really doesn't understand a lot about cars, they just want to get in it, have it work, get them to where they need to be and back. It's a combination of, it's really a digital interface. So we want to make sure not only there is written communication that kind of explains the issue to them, but pictures and video that support that. And then when it gets into complex systems, we have some animated visuals, movies, if you will, that use cutaways of cars and isolate various components so that when I tell the customer your upper control arms are completely ripped out, I can send them the video, the picture of their control arms, a video of us manipulating them, and combine it with this visual animated short that clearly explains to them the importance of, you know, what an upper control arm does and the ramifications of its failure.
Right.
When I started this, what I said is I wanted to be the epicenter of really high caliber automotive solutions really in the central western U.S. So part of that is motorsports. We've had typical motorsports fashion up and down years, some certainly better than others, but have developed a very strong reputation, both in terms of performance, caliber, character, all of that. And then the business has grown tremendously. I mean, the year-over-year production increase is pretty remarkable. Yeah. So what we will do is continue to expand both in physical size as well as work scope. We'll continue to do very high work on very nice vehicles, but we'll continue to take over additional makes, models, and provide broader service to this community. I mean, we've got very good peers up here that perform work, but there are not enough shops in this growing area to be able to service everyone that's there. So we're going to fill that gap, and we'll expand in size. From a real estate perspective, we'll hope at some point we're going to purchase this entire property and build another building and have 20,000 square feet of automotive. And then the other items that may come, the other ancillary services, they remain to be seen. And it's really going to be what is missing in the marketplace, and can we deliver that at a high execution level, a high quality level, and have it be a profitable business.
The industry is flawed in so many ways, and I think a lot of that is just because there's, I don't want to call it a lack of understanding, but there's a lack of understanding with what goes on in these modern vehicles. It's no longer just a switch and a fuse that controls circuits. It's control modules and whatnot. We love to bring customers into the shop. We love to get them under the vehicles. We love to explain our way through the diagnostic process and make sure that we are approaching everything in a very consultative way, so that way everybody understands. Our job here at Big Mission is to make sure that the customer understands how the system works and what's wrong with the system before we go on repairing it, instead of just trusting that we do it. I think that there's a lot of the industry that is just pushy on, you need to fix this, and there's no explanation as of why it needs to be fixed. Yes, we like to bring customers back into the shop. We encourage it. We like to show videos. We like to show pictures, if the customer can't be here, but we love to bring them into the shop, give them tours, bring them out to the car and show them exactly what's going on.
We're going to fix it. We're going to fix it right. We're never going to lie to them. We're never going to tell them that they need to do work that doesn't need to be done. And in fact, frequently, there's a job that is requested or is identified, but its cost is so high that it makes you question whether or not it makes sense to do that. And without any real prompt, we'll dig pretty hard into the car so we can have that conversation with the customer, which is, you shouldn't fix the car. If you spend this $2,500, you're gonna have another $2,500 in about 6 months, and another $2,500 6 months after that. And frankly, in this 170,000 mile, 15-year-old car, you're probably better suited to take that aggregate $7,500 and have it set aside for whatever the replacement is. So what we want is what is best for the customer.